Have you ever wondered if there are lost treasures from your favorite authors just sitting in a box somewhere? Well, what if I told you we found one from Beatrix Potter? And it's not what you'd expect. It's a story that's quieter, a little strange, and honestly, way more profound than anything she ever published. That's exactly what happened back in 1986, and today we are diving right into this incredible lost manuscript.
So get this. Tucked away in an old deed box, buried under a bunch of farm accounts and some sketches, was this little brown paper parcel. And on it, in Potter's own handwriting, it basically says, "This one's unfinished, and whatever you do, don't send it to my publisher." So right off the bat, you know we're heading into some really interesting uncharted territory.
And it really is a stranger tale. This is not the Beatrix Potter you think you know. We're not talking about mischievous bunnies in cute blue jackets, nope. This story takes us to a place called Briar Howe, a small, kind of ordinary hill, and introduces us to its very, very wise and solitary inhabitant.
Let me introduce you to our main character, Mrs. Juniper Thorn. She's an old hare, the kind who's seen a few things. She's practical, not at all sentimental, and she does something really unusual for a hare. She lives in a burrow. Most hares sleep out in the open. This little detail tells you everything. She's a planner, she pays attention. The story kicks off, not with some big dramatic event, but with Mrs. Thorn just observing. She's noticing all these little subtle signs around her home, these hints that a really deep and unsettling change is coming. The first clue, it's the birds. She sees the fieldfares, these noisy birds from the north, and they're here way too early. And in her experience, that has always meant one thing: a brutal winter is on its way. It's like the first warning bell. And then, boom! The very next morning, the air itself feels different. A thin, mineral frost covers everything. It's not just a cold morning, it feels sharp, unnatural. It's like winter just dropped off its business card, way ahead of schedule.
After that, she sees the snow, and we're not talking about a light dusting that'll be gone by noon. No, this is a heavy, purposeful blanket of snow on the mountains in the distance. And I love this description from the manuscript. It looks like it meant to stay. You just get this growing sense of dread.
But here's the thing. Mrs. Thorn realizes this is more than just a bad forecast. There's a weird quality to the light, a strange silence in the air. It feels like the whole world is holding its breath, just waiting.
So what is this threat, really? Well, it finally gets a name when a little visitor shows up, a young hedgehog sent as a messenger, and he's carrying a warning about a danger that's way bigger than just a long winter. The hedgehog's message is short and terrifying. The tarn is sinking. Now, a tarn is a deep mountain lake, and it's always full. For it to be sinking, well, for Mrs. Thorn, who remembers a time like this before, she knows this is the sign. The world is about to change in a fundamental way. And this change has a name: the turning. It's not an earthquake or a flood. It's something much stranger. The manuscript describes it as a change in the deep arrangement of the land. It's like a song you know by heart suddenly changing key. All the notes are still there, but the feeling, the whole vibe, is just completely deeply wrong. And the consequences of the last turning? They are absolutely terrifying. We're talking about creatures forgetting how to even speak to each other, places losing their names, paths you've walked your whole life just vanishing. But here's the scariest part. The ones who lost all this, they didn't even know they'd lost anything. They just felt diminished. So, faced with a threat that literally erases who you are, what do? Well, Mrs. Thorn knows you can't just hide in your burrow. The only defense is community. The only way through is together. So she calls a meeting and gathers this very unlikely crew on her hill. You've got Mr. Dodd, a gruff old badger. There's Mr. Doc, a nervous rabbit leader. There's the doctor, this ancient heron who can literally read the memory of water. And Peggy Longears, a rabbit who can see the invisible connections holding the world together. A real motley crew. And her plan? It's so beautifully simple, it's genius. She says, let's meet up every 7 days. And let's not just talk about food or danger. Let's really talk to each other. Let's share stories. The idea is to actively fight back against the world fraying apart. And right here, this is it. This is the beautiful, beating heart of this lost story. The cure for a world that's forgetting itself is the active, deliberate work of remembering, together. At their very first meeting, Mr. Dodd the Badger drops this bombshell.
He reveals that his ancestors used to be the keepers of all the valley's stories. They had a telling stone where they'd recite them. But during the last turning, his grandfather forgot the stories, and the stone has been silent ever since.
And Peggy Longears, the rabbit who sees the hidden structures, gives us this incredible image. She says the turning is like the fabric of the world tearing. And the result isn't some big explosion. She says it looks like loneliness. I mean, wow, it's not about chaos. It's about disconnection.
So their strategy becomes crystal clear. Meet up, share a real story about who you are. And by doing that, they're giving their stories to each other for safekeeping. They're essentially building a shared external hard drive for their identities. They're making a choice to refuse to be diminished.
And then the doctor, the wise old heron, just drops this incredible piece of wisdom. He says, the natural world, it just adapts. It lets go. But to be a creature with a memory, with an identity, that's to make a choice. It's the choice to care, the choice to hold on, even when the universe itself tells you to just let go.
So that's the big takeaway, isn't it? This lost story from Beatrix Potter is telling us that memory isn't just a filing cabinet in your brain. It's not passive. It's an action. It's an act of will. It's a fight you choose to engage in every day to hold on to who you are through story and through community. Which kind of leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? If you felt the world around you starting to fray, if the connections started to loosen, what's the one essential story you would tell? What story about you or your family or your community would you share to help hold it all together? What story is on your telling stone?